Coming up on News Live at 6, 3 U.S. troops are dead after a drone strike in Jordan. How the Biden White House says they will respond.
Plus, New York Senator and Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer was at Upstate Medical today to talk about an infection. Find out how drug shortages in central New York can seriously affect the lives of many.
And the 2024 income tax filing season starts today. How the tax department is also urging taxpayers to try out the free tax filing software on their website. News Live at 6 starts right now.
This is CitrusTV News Live at 6, your campus news leader.
Good evening and welcome to News Live at 6. I'm Maddie Stelk.
And I'm Bradley Hoppenstein. Maddie, belated birthday to you.
Thank you very much.
We're going to start things off with the weather. It was nice and warm, a little sunny last week, but cooler this week. Snow coming down today, Maddie.
Absolutely. And our weather anchor, Luke Radel, is here in studio to tell us more about the temperatures we're seeing today. Luke, how's the weather looking?
Maddie, I'm so happy to see that your birthday wish came true and you get to have another semester here on Weather with me. Right now, the temperature is hanging around 31 degrees, just below freezing here in the city of Syracuse, with wind gusts coming up to around 17 miles per hour, so it feels a little bit more like 24 degrees. I can certainly attest to that being outside a little earlier on today. Sunset time was at 5:12 p.m., so it is dark out there now, and as we see temperatures dropping just a little bit overnight, but so are those wind speeds, so it won't feel quite so cold. Your sunrise time for tomorrow is 7:22 a.m., but I'll have a full look at your 5-day forecast coming up a little bit later on News Live at 6. Guys, back over to you.
All right, Luke, thank you. We'll see you a little later on. Starting tonight, or until 8:30 tonight, there's a teach-in about the urgency of Palestine at the ESF Gateway Conference Room. According to an Instagram post from Black at Cuse, Syracuse Palestine Solidarity Collective and Syracuse Faculty for Palestine, this teach-in will consist of a panel, breakout discussion, and community actions discussion. Black at Cuse describes this event as an action and education opportunity.
New tonight, the Fall 2024 Living Learning Community Peer Mentor applications open today. LLC peer mentors are there to provide encouragement, leadership, and academic support to incoming LLC residents. There are 12 communities and 15 paid positions available. Applications are due February 23rd. You can visit the Syracuse University Events Calendar website for more information.
And the Moynihan Institute's Middle Eastern Study Program and the Parents Circle Families Forum will be hosting a virtual dialogue meeting from noon to 1:30 tomorrow afternoon. The PCFF is an organization of Palestinian and Israeli families who have lost immediate family members due to the conflict. The conversation will center around the panelist experiences working to restore peaceful relations in the Middle East. The dialogue is open to Syracuse students, faculty, and staff.
The College of Engineering and Computer Science is hosting a career and internship prep tomorrow in the Link Hall lobby. There will be drop-in hours from 9 to 5. Peer coaches will also be available to answer internship fair questions. Resume reviews and elevator pitch development help will also be offered.
All right, Maddie. Well, New York Senator Chuck Schumer was actually in Syracuse this afternoon to talk about RSV. That's an infection that targets the elderly as well as infants. Here to give us more on that story is our reporter Harrison Calder. Good evening, Harrison.
Bradley, good evening. Earlier this afternoon, doctors, the Onondaga County Health Commissioner, Syracuse Mayor Ben Walsh, and many more joined Senator Schumer to talk about a virus that's become extremely harmful to many, especially with vaccine shortages. New York State Senator and Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer spoke at upstate Golisano Children's Hospital, where he talked about RSV, an infection that can seriously harm older people as well as infants. RSV, better known as respiratory syncytial virus infection, has been around for 60 years, but there wasn't a way to treat the infection until the FDA approved the first vaccines in May of 2023. Schumer came today to bring up not only how serious RSV is becoming, but to also highlight the shortages of the vaccine around central New York.
We are working right as we speak to get more vaccines to central New York and to upstate New York. Buffalo's had a shortage. Rochester hasn't for some reason, but Syracuse has. Albany hasn't. So to get it to the areas where it's short, and we're trying to get it ASAP. You can't wait a minute.
The medicine certainly does its job, but Schumer says that places in need should be the priority of where the drugs are sent, as opposed to how the system works now. Onondaga County realizes the concerns that people are not able to receive the proper medical attention required and that they must be prepared to make the necessary changes.
The issue is also one of equity. So if it's a family where the child does not necessarily have increased risk of severe disease but may have issues with accessing primary care, we don't want them to be the last one down the road who have access to this very, very important vaccine for every child.
Many other doctors and high-qualified professionals came to speak in support of Schumer's work, which he was able to dish out in return of the tough decisions they have to make involving RSV.
Doctors are in a triage position, which is an awful position to be in. Do I give it to this child or that child because I don't have enough? We want to avoid that. The RSV vaccine is only about a year old. It's called Beyfortus. It works. It's sort of a miracle. Has virtually no side effects, and it's very effective against RSV.
The infection has become a glaring issue in central New York, but Schumer is very determined to make sure the areas in need get the necessary care to keep infants healthy. Maddie, back to you at the desk.
Harrison, thank you. And the Syracuse teen who was driving a stolen car that was involved in a shooting in September with an Onondaga County Sheriff's deputy in September has been arrested after being caught in a stolen car. The 17-year-old is also under investigation for other crimes, including burglary in the Rochester area. The teen was officially charged in Monroe County with possession of stolen property, which is a felony in the county.
An Onondaga Central School District resource officer has resigned after he left his duty belt and firearm in a school restroom. According to Marcellus Police, on January 18th, police officer Robert Wicks, who was an SRO at Wheeler Elementary, was changing his clothes in a staff restroom where he removed his duty belt and left it behind. His firearm was left in that belt as well. A school employee found the belt and alerted the principal, who alerted the superintendent. The Marcellus police chief says Wicks accepted responsibility, understood he made a mistake, and resigned.
The 2024 income tax filing season starts today. The tax department and the IRS are processing income tax returns now until April 15th. The tax department is also urging taxpayers to try out the free tax filing software on their website. The software should let taxpayers file both federal and New York state returns with private online tax preparers for free. For more information, you can go to tax.ny.gov, as you can see below on your screen.
Interested in trying some new foods? Well, you're in luck because Baldwinsville Dining Week begins today. Baldwinsville will be celebrating their local and independent restaurants for a 5th year. Each restaurant will offer their own special menu or special items at a discounted price. Over 15 local restaurants are participating in the event that ends on February 11th.
And
Tracy Turnblad from Hairspray.
Starting tomorrow, can see Hairspray the musical at Landmark Theater. Broadway's Tony Award-winning musical is back on tour. Join 16-year-old Tracy Turnblad in 1960s Baltimore as she sets out to dance her way onto TV's most popular show. The musical will be here in Syracuse until February 3rd. You can buy tickets online or at the Landmark Theater box office. And Bradley, I just want to say, I heard that our very own Zach Richter was Corny Collins in his high school theater.
You know, I've heard that. I wonder if he's making a return when Hairspray comes back.
We can only hope. We can only hope, seriously.
All right, let's stay in the city now, Maddie. One of the oldest hotels in Syracuse has officially turned a century old. The Marriott Syracuse Downtown, formerly known as Hotel Syracuse, is partnering with the Onondaga Historical Association on its 100th year anniversary to present a new exhibit open all year. The display is called Stalwart in Structure, Beautiful in Design. If you're interested in seeing the exhibit, you can visit the Marriott Syracuse Downtown and take the elevator to the mezzanine. The exhibit will be free to the public and on display until December.
And after the break, President Biden facing a decision on how to respond to the worst attack on U.S. troops since 2021. Stay with us.
Here's your check. Oh, you got it. You know, since I got rid of my car, I really enjoy walking.
Okay. God, no.
Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates.
Oh, you're home early. You live with your mom?
That'll set your game back a few years. Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
Welcome to an excellent episode of Live from Studio B.
You're watching Citrus TV News live at 6 with Bradley Hoppenstein, Maddie Stelk, and Luke Radel. Now, your campus news leader continues.
Welcome back. Iran is denying its involvement in the attack that killed 3 and injured 34 U.S. troops near the Syrian border in Jordan on Sunday. President Biden says the U.S. knows the attack was carried out by Iran-backed militant groups. After vowing to retaliate, his administration says he is currently weighing options on how to respond to the strike.
National Security Council spokesman John Kirby says it's clear that Iran has been supporting several radical groups in the region, but the U.S. is not looking for a broader war. These deaths in Jordan on Sunday are the first of U.S. troops since the Israel-Hamas war began.
And a document obtained by Israel today spells out the allegations against a dozen UN employees who reportedly took part in Hamas's October 7th assault. The report says 7 UN workers stormed into Israeli territory and 2 even participated in the attacks and abductions.
The UN condemned the Hamas attack and fired 9 of the accused workers, but several countries are stopping their funding to the agency until we get the full story. The U.S. was the first to suspend payments to the UN Agency for Palestinian Refugees. Canada, Germany, Australia, and Italy are just some of a list of others who joined the U.S. over the weekend.
A bit closer to home, the government is issuing a travel warning for the Bahamas after 18 murders there since the start of the year. The State Department is listing a level 2 advisory warning warning travelers to use increased caution due to crime in the region.
The advisory specifically lists the islands of New Providence, which includes popular tourist destinations like Nassau and Grand Bahama. A security alert posted by the U.S. Embassy in the Bahamas also warns of the 18 murders since the start of the year and says all of them have been in broad daylight on the streets.
And a former IRS contractor who leaked Donald Trump's tax records is headed to prison. Charles Littlejohn pled guilty in October and said that when he shared the documents with the press, he knew he'd likely end up in court. Littlejohn shared the private information with the New York Times just weeks before the 2020 election.
In her sentencing decision, U.S. District Judge Anna Reyes wrote that Littlejohn did, quote, in targeting the sitting of the President of the United States was an attack on our constitutional democracy. Reyes also compared his actions to the January 6th defendants she had recently sentenced.
Republicans continue their fight against the president on the southern border. House GOP members are moving forward with their impeachment inquiry into DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas, unveiling the articles yesterday evening.
The GOP-led Homeland Security Committee plans to consider the charges laid out against Mayorkas this week, while the Department of Homeland Security blasted the attempted impeachment as unconstitutional and evidence-free.
And the latest, an employer thinks he's solved one of the greatest mysteries of all time. Former U.S. intelligence officer and CEO of Deep Sea Vision, Tony Romeo, believes he has found Amelia Earhart's plane that vanished in 1937. Romeo and a pilot went on the $11 million expedition and used sonar data from an underwater drone to find the suspected area of Earhart's crash.
The image was taken about 100 miles from Howland Island, about halfway between Australia and Hawaii. And you can see in the pictures posted online, the sonar technology found a blurry plane-like shape deep in the water. It's too soon, though, to determine if it was Earhart's plane, but Romeo says his team will revisit the site with more equipment in the future.
And King Charles and Princess Kate are both out of the hospital after dealing with different ailments. The princess was released this morning, nearly 2 weeks after undergoing a planned abdominal surgery. The 75-year-old king was released this morning after being hospitalized with an enlarged prostate over the weekend.
The palace says the king is taking a break from his busy schedule to fully recoup. Meanwhile, the princess will take a longer period of rest to recover. Both of the schedules put on hold at the moment. The family is also thanking the palace medical team and the world for all of its kind messages.
And when we come back, I'll have your full 5-day forecast. Stay with us. You're watching Citrus TV News.
Leaving hot coals improperly extinguished can cause a wildfire.
Hey guys, it's Smokey!
It looks as if Smokey is going to use the drown, stir, drown and feel technique. After the first drown, a good start. Next, another drink. And finally, a close feel.
Is it cool? Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Smokey, catch! Oh, my bad, Smokey.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
From the Citrus TV Weather Center, this is SU's most accurate weather forecast.
We're now with our weather anchor, Luke Radel. Luke, it's that time of year. You think you know exactly what the weather's going to be every day here in CNY, but over the weekend, end of last week, it was a little warmer. I don't know, you tell me what's going on here.
You know, as I was preparing this forecast today, I was looking at what the weather was supposed to be, and it said 0% chance of precipitation. Then I walk out of my 2:30 class, and it was snowing outside. So
lots of snow, too.
Proof that even the people who are supposed to be presenting the weather on TV don't always know exactly what it's going to be. But there was a lot of snow happening yesterday. It left a lot of snow on the trees in my hometown, as Maddie well knows. But maybe, Brad, you didn't know. I'm from Utica, New York, which is about an hour down the road. Let's take a quick look at a picture that my mom actually sent in for me.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Of the woods in our
Look at
backyard.
that.
Isn't that lovely?
So pretty.
So listen, guys, Groundhog Day is coming up on Friday. I don't know if you guys have seen the movie with Bill Murray. I'm a big fan. But I figured that we'd have a Citrus TV groundhog of our own, make a bit of a weather prediction. Now, as I stipulated before, I'm not very good at making weather predictions. I'll tell you that right off the top. But based on our look at AccuWeather, I can tell you that our prediction is that there will be no more snow for the next 10 days. There is a very low chance of precipitation for the next 10 days. We're going to be seeing a roller coaster in the temperatures. But first, let's take a look at some of your temperatures across the region right now. Out west in Rochester, we are at about 34 degrees. In Penyan, 32. Things staying pretty consistent across the region. My hometown of Utica, I always have to point out, is at 33 degrees. Taking a look ahead at what the temperatures are going to be looking like for the next 10 days, a little bit like a roller coaster. What goes up, though, must come down, heading up to 40 degrees by the middle of this week, and dropping down to 21, a high of 21 on Saturday, so it's going to be a little chilly this weekend. Be sure to bundle up. This is a look at your full 5-day forecast. As it says on there, clouds, clouds, and more clouds. They're going to be sticking around for a little while. We're not going to be seeing the sun until probably around the end of this semester, judging based off of my knowledge of central New York weather. That's all the time, though, I've got for you right now. I'm going to toss it back over to you guys at the desk.
A roller coaster indeed, Luke. That is how the weather always is here in Syracuse. Well, American Airlines is tipping their cap to the Super Bowl-bound Kansas City Chiefs and, of course, the Swifties. The airline is starting to add flight numbers such as 1989 and 87 in honor of Swift's birth year and album, and, of course, 87 for Kelsey's number.
The flights will take off a couple days before the Super Bowl on February 9th and 10th from Kansas City to Las Vegas, and United Airlines is also doing something similar, adding flight numbers to Vegas as another nod to the star couple. Maddie, the Taylor Swift phenomenon just never ends, does it?
It really doesn't, and I'm excited. I'm going to be watching the Super Bowl, maybe more so because of that. I don't know if I would be watching otherwise. I'm sorry to all of our viewers out there. That's probably a bad thing to say, but
well, we've got a lot of football to break down from just yesterday. It was Championship Sunday in the NFL. We have our sports anchor, Sean Dempsey, who will be in studio to break that down, and some Syracuse men's basketball. Don't go anywhere.
Dad, they took over my bedroom. Come on, come on. Okay, Dad. 1, 2, 3. Dad! You saved me. Dad?
Are you okay?
I'm fine, dear.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving.
Life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome. Prediabetes does. One in 3 adults has prediabetes, and you could be one of them. There are usually no signs for prediabetes, so it's important to understand your risk. With early diagnosis, prediabetes can be reversed. And you can change the outcome.
Syracuse men's basketball is on the cusp of the bubble of even making the NCAA tournament, but a win over NC State on Saturday put them in a much better spot. Welcome to sports. I'm Sean Dempsey. Syracuse men's basketball took down NC State on Saturday, 77-65. A big reason for the win was J.J. Starling. The sophomore guard finished with a career-high 26 points. After the game, head coach Adrian Autry praised Starling for stepping up and playing with confidence. Well, this is Starling's 4th consecutive game with double-digit points. The New York native hopes to carry that over to SU's next game on the road Tuesday against Boston College. Game time is set for 7 for that one. But also on the hard court, number 22 Syracuse women's basketball was taken down by number 19 Virginia Tech 75-62 on Sunday. The Orange only shot 22% from beyond the arc and turned the ball over 13 times. Leading the way for the Hokies was Georgia Amore. The guard tallied 29 points in 29 minutes played. For the Orange, Georgia Woolley and Deasia Fair both finished with 16 points and 4 assists. SU's next contest is on the road against number 18 Louisville. Tip is set for noon for that one. And in the NBA, the Knicks took care of business against the Heat in Madison Square Garden on Saturday, 125-109. Jalen Brunson led the offense for New York with 32 points and 8 assists. Brunson shot 50% from three-point land as well. Julius Randle added 19 points and 9 rebounds for the Knicks too. However, Randle went down with an injury in the 4th quarter. Head coach Tom Thibodeau said after the game that Randle is being evaluated by the team's medical staff, but it's looking like Randle dislocated his right shoulder and will be out for tonight's game against the Hornets. And finally, at last, the Super Bowl matchup has been finalized. Yes, Taylor Swift and the Chiefs somehow managed to find their way under the bright lights. Patrick Mahomes and company took down the Ravens in Baltimore 17-10. In the NFC Championship game, the 49ers found a way to crawl back from being down 17 points to the Lions to punch their ticket to Vegas. This Super Bowl will be a rematch from 2020 when the Chiefs took down the 49ers 31-20. This is Kansas City's third Super Bowl appearance in nearly 5 years, guys.
Well, this is a big weekend. Next few weeks, actually. The Super Bowl is in a few weeks, right?
Yeah, 2 weeks.
And then Taylor Swift's performing at the Grammys this coming weekend, which is also very exciting. It's a big time. And then her not Reputation, well, we think she might announce Reputation. Luke knows what I'm talking about. At her tour in Tokyo. That's the big theory that's going around with the Swifties right now.
When I heard she might have problems getting back from Tokyo in time to get to Travis Kelce's Super Bowl game, they're trying to figure out how the time zones are going to work out and all that. Can we just dispel with the fiction that the NFL isn't scripted at this point? The fact that Chiefs are going to the Super Bowl?
They had to send Taylor Swift to the Super Bowl? Is that what you're saying?
It's like a high school movie, I swear.
How many times is Taylor Swift going to be shown during the Super Bowl?
Okay,
5,
I saw
6,
a
7.
chart. I saw a chart the other day that said that she's only shown 0.46% of the time and the rest of the game.
Of what?
It seems like a lot more. I don't
know.
know.
That's what I saw. I think she's getting too much hate about it, and I think it's bringing more viewers to the NFL. So people.
No,
should be
that is
grateful for
definitely
that.
true. My question, then we got to send it to break. But do we think she'll actually make it? Because she's going Tokyo to Las Vegas, and then doesn't she have to go to Australia the next day?
She'll find a way. It's love, Bradley Hopkins,
yes.
Steve.
Okay.
This is a movie we're talking about. The NFL scripted.
We will check in 2 weeks.
They're telling us to wrap.
Luckily, we're the Monday show. I think we have to wrap, Luke.
No more Taylor Swift discussion.
So sad.
So sad.
Well, Luke.
Hey, coming up, I'm going to do that now. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Here's your check. Oh, you got it. Since I got rid of my car, I really enjoy walking.
Okay. God, no.
Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates.
Oh, you're home early.
You live with your mom?
That'll set your game back a few years. Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
Live at 6, this is your tomorrow temperature planner, starting out the day at around 30 degrees below freezing, but then it's going to rise a little bit, that roller coaster we were talking about before, to 38 degrees by 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And when you're hanging out with Kaylin Campbell at 6 o'clock tomorrow night, it'll be 35 degrees, guys.
All right, Luke, thank you so much. Well, if you're like me and you've been missing the Minions the past few years, this next story is going to make you go bananas, but in a good way, Maddie.
Yeah, very good. Thanks for the clarification. Over the weekend, a trailer dropped for Despicable Me 4, which hits theaters this July. Steve Carell is returning as the voice of Gru, and he'll be joined by new cast members Will Ferrell, Sofia Vergara, and Stephen Colbert.
Wow. Let's take a look at all the Minion-related movies we've had over the past 14 years. These guys are my personal favorites. The question is, do we need another one? I mean, we've had a little Minion oversaturation, but guys, myself personally, I'm not one to complain. The more Minions, the merrier.
I don't know. I stopped watching, honestly, after like the second, maybe.
I can't remember the last time I watched the
Right? Yeah. It's been a while.
But as a Stephen Colbert mega fan, the fact that he's going to be in it, come on. I have to go check it out.
Do we know what role he's going to be playing?
He's a Minion.
It's a mystery.
He has to be a Minion. I hope he's
He's
a
a
minion.
minion?
He's not going to be a minion. But that's all the time we have for you tonight on News Live at 6.
Don't forget, you can follow us on X and Instagram at CitrusTV News. Now, for the entire Citrus TV team, I'm Maddie Stelk.
And I'm Bradley Hoppenstein. Have a great night, Syracuse.